we get a situation where they decide that they want to burn the ballot boxes? I'm glad that you asked that question, because what's happening on the local level as well as what's happening on the national level should not be ignored. Now, I know my guy, Eric D., who's a resident chat, my resident chat liberal, is in the chat. He'll tell you that he's independent, but don't believe it. Eric D. is 100% liberal. He's 100% a Democrat. He's probably voted that way his entire life. We know this, all right? But my resident chat friend, Eric D., who's been here a long time with me and been rocking out with what we got going on, well, he will tell you and say, well, y'all just scared that the Republicans are going to lose. You just scared. You don't want to face the facts that it's a possibility that he's going to lose. When it comes to election interference, I believe that there has been election interference all the way up into the White House. That is my belief. That is my belief. I believe that there's many forms of election interference, including Fani Willis and Andre Dickens meeting with the Vice President of the United States of America at the White House, which it is public information and on the White House logs, prior to them filing charges against Donald Trump in Fulton County. I believe that that is a form of election interference. I believe that Trump has to win for a third time in order to do a second term. I believe that. I believe that election interference has been happening on a local level in a lot of these states for a long time. I do. I 100% do. But I don't believe that that should be an issue that is only tied to one party. I am very objective in saying that election interference should not be in any form, shape, in any election on the local or the national level, or in any situation, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. I don't believe, because I also believe that if you vote a certain way and then you get the results that come along with it, similar to what's happening in Dalton, similar to what's happening in Chicago, then you get what you vote for, but I just think you have to suffer as a result of your decisions. I'm not tripping about it. It doesn't affect me either way. I'm going to get richer regardless of who's in office, but I prefer for the United States of America to be a place where my daughter's life can be conducive and for her to be able to raise her children in a great place, regardless of whether or not I'm richer or anything, right? So that has nothing to do with it. Objectively, there should not be election interference. That's where I say, flat out, across the board, I don't believe that there needs to be an election interference situation. Regardless of who's winning, whoever wins, it needs to be free and fair election in the United States of America. Now, me personally, I believe that Trump is absolutely going to wash her. I think you're looking at 100 million votes for Trump. I think you're looking at 100 million. 100 million votes for Trump. I think you're looking at it. I do. But this is what's happening across the United States of America. We've been reporting on this for several weeks now. And this is what's happening at the ballot boxes. And I think that people should be concerned. And this is something that we need to address.
I'm Andrew Kraft. Like I said, hope you had a good weekend. What we want to do right now, we want to go out to the Pacific Northwest. This is a story I know that a lot of you are talking about. A lot of you are following right now. Take a look at some of this video, though. Okay, so this is what we know. According to the Associated Press, authorities, including the FBI, were investigating today after early morning fires were set in ballot drop boxes in Portland, Oregon, and in nearby Vancouver, Washington, where hundreds of ballots were destroyed there. Now, the Portland Police Bureau reported officers and firefighters responded to a fire in one ballot drop box. This was around 3:30 in the morning. They determined an incendiary device had been placed inside. Now, the Multnomah County Elections Director, his name, Tim Scott, he said a fire suppressant inside of the drop box protected nearly all the ballots. Only 3 of them were damaged, and his office planned to contact those voters to help them obtain replacement ballots. Now, a few hours later, though, I want to put up some new video here. Take a look at this. Across the Columbia River in Vancouver, TV crews captured footage of smoke pouring out of a ballot box at a transit center. Vancouver is the biggest city in Washington's 3rd congressional district. the site of what is expected to be one of the closest U.S. House races in the country between first-term Democratic Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp Perez and Republican challenger Joe Kent. This is a rematch from 2022 here. Yeah, even more video we have. Let's take it there. You see. Now, officials held a news conference after authorities said these early morning fires were set in these ballot drop boxes in both Portland, Oregon, and nearby Vancouver, Washington, where hundreds of ballots were destroyed here. And in this press conference, authorities do believe that these two incidents are related, are connected. Let's listen.
And again, we collected it through the Metro Explosive Disposal Unit. These incidents are similar in nature. No one was injured in any of these incidents. We're working with our partners across the river here in Portland and sharing information with our federal law enforcement partners in hopes of bringing this to a successful conclusion. Questions?
Good afternoon, Assistant Chief Amanda McMillan, Portland Police. Just a couple of quick comments and then we'll take questions at the end. We really just wanted to acknowledge the heightened emotion around this event as we build up to the election. We're acutely aware going into the election how folks are feeling, and then events like this with the damage at the ballot boxes. Just want to emphasize that we're dedicated to work collaboratively with all of our partners here, federal partners, the county, Vancouver PD, and the Sheriff's Office working to resolve these cases. We do have an investigator working the leads in this case. We don't know the motive behind these acts. It sounds like a series of 3 at this point. But we do know that acts like this are targeted and they're intentional. And we're concerned about that intentional act trying to affect the election process. We're dedicated to stopping that kind of behavior, and we're working toward that today. Finally, I just wanted to end with, it is an active investigation. We're following up on the leads that we developed, and we're going to have additional information I think Mike's going to share with us here later today. There's a limited amount of information that we can share because it's an ongoing investigation. So I just wanted to say thank you all for coming out. We really appreciate you being here and sharing what we're doing to resolve these. Thank you, guys.
Who do you think, what do you think that the motive is from, okay, let me revise this question. Who do you think, what side of the aisle, if y'all had to guess, chat, if you had to guess, there's a Democrat incumbent and one of the closest rematches, and obviously we know that a lot of people is upset over what's happened over the last 3.5 years, versus a Republican that is trying to unseat an incumbent. And if you had to guess, if you had to put your finger on it, if somebody put a gun to your head, or if somebody said, listen, I got $1 million if you get this right, which side of the aisle do you think is burning up the ballots and the ballot boxes or trying to influence the election? Which side would you choose? The Democrats, the left? Dems. Yep. If you had to guess, which side of the aisle do you think is doing this? What do you think? I live in Seattle and it's definitely a Democrat. The demonic left, Democrats, Dems, the left, easy. Jesus Christ. So it's pretty obvious to all of us then, right? Okay. Just want to make sure that we all on the same page.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Scott. I'm the Director of Elections for Multnomah County.
Hey, how does it feel? Because again, we don't censor people. I love my chat. My chat is the co-host of the show. For all of y'all that are watching this, that are bothered, whose spirits is bothered by the fact that you are among a group of people that does not pick and choose based off of identity politics, that we don't care about who you decide to sleep with, even though we have our own personal convictions and our own standards for what our life is, but we absolutely agree to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we all realize that after doing some research, that the majority of us are conservative and we live our lives conservative and we would want our children to be raised in a conservative environment. How does it feel to be amongst a whole lot of people who you're not used to being around, that's not in an echo chamber, that can think for themselves and make informed decisions? How does that feel? It gotta hurt you. It has to hurt you. And the reason that it has to hurt you is that most of us grew up in environments where we grew up conservative and we had conservative values that was passed down to us, but for some reason we were sold on the idea that we had to vote liberal, right? We had to vote on Democrats. And so we grew up in a hood. And so if you were ever outside of that, or you ever got off a code, or you ever decided that you want to speak proper English, then you talk white and you got teased for it. And if you went to school and you decided that you wanted to sit in the front of the classroom and study and be a good student, you were teased for that, because right was wrong and wrong is right. And so we're used to being in an environment where the people that get teased are usually the ones that are doing the right thing, but now everything is flipped. It kind of reminds me of, what's that movie, 21 Jump Street, where Channing Tatum and the other guy, and when he was a jock in high school, it was good, it was good to be the bad guy. But then when they went back to high school pretending to still be students, that he was a fish out of water because he didn't realize that he was the one that was looking like the idiot at the time. That's kind of how it is now. It's kind of how it is now, is that the good guys are on the right side of history, and the ones that want to continue to keep you on code is on that other side of history, and they feeling out of order because they're like, man, how come I'm not the cool kid? Because I want to be the class clown no more. Well, we don't deal with class clowns anymore. We're not interested in court jesters. We're not interested in people entertaining us and giving us booty clapping sounds. Shout out to my dog, O'Shea Duke Jackson. We don't want to see any more sandling it up and people telling you what you need to do because you're not getting on code and you must be a white man and all. We don't care about that. Okay, call me a white man. I'm cool. Cool. Now what? Now what? And so is that all you got? You Uncle Ruckus. Yeah. Hey everybody, we got one of them over here. Over there. When the dummies say, come on, put your dukes up. Because they don't have any thinking capacity and they don't have the ability to think for themselves. And they lose their crew because all of their friends is locked up in, all of their friends that would usually vote liberal along with them, they all locked up in jail. It's the truth. The numbers is on our side. Look, the majority of the felons and the people that we know can't actually vote in an election, and those are the ones that's shaming you on social media. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Y'all want to know the truth? Y'all want to know the truth? Okay, I'll tell you the truth. The people that are telling you to get on code are mad because they can't even cast their vote. They on the list. What list is that, might you ask? The sexual offenders list. They mad because you're going to be the one that determines whether or not their fate is going to be A or B. They can't even cast a vote. We're not tripping off of them. We're not tripping. Look, we the ones that don't have no smut on our name. We are free. We are free. You know they got to call their probation officer tomorrow. And we can find them if we look up the list to find out who in our neighborhood is not supposed to be there. I'm sorry, sir. Are you too close to it? You need to back up. Tell them, hey, you need to back up. Why you want me to back up? Because we in a school zone. Now you know. Say one more word and I'm calling your parole officer. You know you too close to a school zone. So what I need you to do is focus on making sure that you get 100 more feet away from a school zone. Even though it's the summertime and the kids is out of school, even though it's the weekend, you're still not supposed to be over here. So, all of that shaming language, you can leave. You can just leave. We're not worried about them. They can't cast their vote anyway. Why y'all so concerned with being on code with people that can't vote? It ain't that. You know why engagement is so far down in the... Y'all gonna get me started. I told you it was gonna be one of them shows. You know why engagement is so far down in the urban community that continue to vote on a thing that's not best for them? Because they can't vote. They citizens. But look, bro, you just mad because immigrants got more control over your fate than you do. It ain't my fault. I never sold drugs to my community. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Got nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me whatsoever.
Details have already been covered. The good news is the fire suppression devices inside the box extinguished any fire almost immediately. There were only 3 ballots that were in the box out of hundreds that had any damage whatsoever. And we were able to clearly read the voters' names on those ballots. So we will be reaching out directly.
Lamont said some of us felons got our voter. Listen, this ain't for all. Look, y'all got to remember that when we speak on people, it's usually a majority, not the minority. If you are a felon that has done your time, changed your life, and then you moving accordingly, then God bless you and congratulations. I think that you are the best person in the world. It almost is just like if people are speaking to the majority of the degenerate black culture that is best, that is not best for us, I don't get offended because it doesn't apply to me. If you say, well, technically speaking, if you look at the census, then black men, they behind all of these other races of men when it comes to not having resources to take care of their family. Okay, cool. That's not applicable to me because I have more than an abundance to take care of multiple different families, and I hire people to take care of their families. So I'm not offended by when people say jokes that then may be applicable to the majority of the culture, which they would put me in, because I'm not of the culture. It doesn't apply to me. If you can vote, it doesn't apply to you. But if you're offended, then maybe I'm talking to you. I don't know.
To those that were impacted. Later today, we will have all the ballots processed that were in that box, except for those 3 where we'll be reaching out to those voters. And
yeah, be careful, y'all. It's going to get ugly over these next, I would say, we vote next Tuesday. So it's 6 days away from the actual election. They say more than 30 million people have already casted their vote, which I don't think the election is going to be certified probably another 4 days after that. So you're looking at the weekend. And so I think it's going to be a rough 2 weeks. It's going to be a very, very, very rough 2 weeks.